So welcome to week 7 of MPAI 600 here at Georgetown University. Announcements, Capitol Hill brief, I'll talk about that in a second. But I just want to give the final date, again, August 19th, for your final paper and your final for those. So the final is everyone is going to do it individually. The final paper, as I mentioned, you'll be broken, whatever groups you're in, you'll be doing it as a presentation. Or you'll be doing it as an individual paper if you did the group presentation this previous week. So just keep that in mind. That's the last date. I will not be accepting extensions, late, or anything like that because I've got to get the grades on time and you've got to get to your next course in the sequence. So just keep that in mind, and I'm going to release that on Thursday. And I'll also say, for those of you who attend the Capitol Hill brief, I will allow you to write your final paper on the Capitol Hill brief. Again, you have to attend it in order to be able to have that option, because I'm going to talk about what I'm looking for in the paper and the intelligence failures and the questions I want answered. So speaking of the Capitol Hill brief, again, it's at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, August 8th. And I don't think maybe one or two of you will actually try and come in who are local, but I know most of you will probably be on Zoom. So if you're going to be local, we're going to be at the Ulysses S. Grant at 7 p.m., the Grant Memorial. And you can park in these locations here. Well, let me backtrack. It's illegal to park in those locations, but I've parked in there 50 times and never had a problem. So, well, I'll just let you make that call. So be online in Zoom, and I'll give the Zoom link in this announcement. And what we're going to do is we're going to go here. We're going to move to the Peace Monument at 7:30. We're going to watch videos. And then for those in person, we'll watch it on our phone. And then at 8 o'clock, we'll meet here. We'll watch some more videos. And then if we have time, we'll go to the reverse side at 8:30. So it should take about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And again, if you're going to be there, bring charged smartphone and headphones. Keep in mind that we're not expecting any weather, but we have these summer flash storms. So if there is a flash storm, what I'm going to do is going to postpone it the next week because I've got my in-person class that I want to do it with. This is my number if there's an issue. And again, you have the Zoom link for those of you who won't be able to be in person. If you are going to be on Zoom, I would recommend having this Google Street View and Google Maps on your computer so you can follow along easier between the combination of Google Maps and Google Street View. So please, and again, I'll be sending out videos. I'll be sending out another announcement, and what I'll just be saying is go to video 1, watch it, and then we'll talk about it, and then we'll move to the Peace Monument, go to video 2, etc. So I'll send those videos out in another announcement section. So should have a good time on Tuesday. Whether you're in person or online, and I'll have one of my in-person students have an iPhone so you can follow along. And if there's any issues or anything, please let me know. And I will say, please record or have my phone number, which is there. If for some reason the Zoom link isn't working, please text me and let me know, or the Zoom sound isn't working or something along those lines. So that'll cover Tuesday. So all of you have your paper presentation back. Just some quick issues. Passive voice. And I know I don't mean to sound like this is 8th grade English class, but this is an active sentence. Subject, verb, object. This is a passive sentence. Object, verb, subject. Okay? This passive takes away from your writing. If you see that passive sentences over and over again, you're going to lose the frame of reference for your audience. So you try and make your sentences as active and as tight as possible going forward. For the content, again, show me how the failure contributed to what you think the decisive variable is. Don't just give me, again, a laundry list of 14 reasons why the Iraq WMD failure occurred or this occurred. If you think that analytical failure or lack of analytical rigor was the primary failure, say it and back it up with evidence and be specific on that aspect. Don't just give me mealy-mouthy laundry lists. And show me, again, how, like, the analytical failure, walk me the line to how it led to the overall failure. And then finally, you have to tell me, particularly if you're talking about Pearl Harbor, Yom Kippur War, etc., what decisions could have been made if the intelligence was accurate. Some of you, again, did the Iranian intelligence or the failure around the fall of the Shah. I'm not clear, still, having read that subject or that case study for many times, what the U.S. government could have done to prevent the Shah from falling, even if they had accurate intelligence. So please tell me what you think. Take the intelligence and draw to what reasonable actions could have been taken. And I want you to do that. Some of you might do the cyber section in the final paper. Some of you might talk about the Russian interference. Hint, hint. That's one of your final questions. And you have to tell me, okay, what could have been done to mitigate the Russia election interference or cyber breach X at what time? Okay, it's very easy to look back and say, well, you should have known this, but you have to connect that to specific actions. So, and then the final thing, I don't have it here, is if you're going to do a case study outside of what we talked about, that's fine. Just let me know ahead of time. Shoot me an email, text. This is what we're thinking about doing, so I can help shape it and gauge it as well. And again, we've had, unique in this class, several people did case studies outside the norm. Fine. One person did a case study on the Roman Empire. That's okay as well, but please let me know ahead of time if you're going to do something like that. Okay, so looking at this previous week, actually I want to jump back to week 5. And this has come up in the last couple of weeks in the current events, particularly when we're talking about some of the congressional terrorist activity or others. That what do we do about lone wolves when they're on the radar, but there's not enough to arrest or detain? Right? There's a gap between they're on the radar, we know what they are, but we can't arrest them. We don't live in China or Russia, so they can still buy crockpots, they can still buy guns, they can still do all sorts of things with the intention of creating harm. How do we solve that problem? Or is that problem solvable? Again, if you're going to argue that one way or another, please argue that in your paper if you're going to talk about terrorism in the final paper. All right, so getting back to week 6 again, CompStat. Many of you said CompStat was the decisive factor, that it was a focusing factor for police authorities. But again, as we look back on it, we know people altered reports. And in any scenario where your pay is based on your performance, people are going to fudge the numbers. They're going to make sure that there's low arrests or high arrests, or arrest certain people and draw the geographic border so it favors them. You have to address those issues. And if you're going to say CompStat led to a decrease in crime, you have to tell me, okay, it was implemented X, Y, and Z, and we saw a decrease in crime A, B, and C, right? You have to show me where it was implemented, and then there was a subsequent decrease in crime. And then if you're going to talk about CompStat, you have to explain the other variables as well, as outlined in the Vox article. Maybe there were other variables for the decrease in crime that we saw in the 90s and 2000s, whether it's more police, better policing, or CompStat, or better economy, abortion, lead, the approval of antidepressants and antipsychotics. Those are all factors that may have led to the decrease in crime that is outside of CompStat. So please explore those in detail. And then we talked about Boston Marathon, but the advances, so you saw advances in technology used for law enforcement as a post-incident tool. The congressional, we'll talk about it on Tuesday, but the January 6th riot showed some of these as well. using facial recognition and Clearview app and others to identify perpetrators in a high-profile crime. The problem is this is for high-profile incidents. How applicable is it for non-high-profile incidents where we can't flood resources into a particular event? Can this stop purse snatchers and low-level crime from occurring? Or would we be going to the level of China, where we have facial recognition and cameras and other AI technologies throughout our country, where you're being monitored 24/7? Do we want that? Or where's the line between very intrusive AI, artificial intelligence background, and use it for legitimate law enforcement authorities? I'll let you decide. So week 7, business intelligence. So you have the dollar. Usually I have 1 or 2 people who are on the business intelligence side. But even if you're not, I think getting the business intelligence side is a worthy endeavor. So you have the Dr. Gilad interview, and then just think about, as we're going through it, businesses that operate in the same space. Circuit City and Best Buy. One is still around, one isn't. Why? Both had to deal with Amazon and e-commerce, but one adapted, one didn't. Woolworth, and Sears aren't around, but Target and Walmart are. Why? What did Walmart do and what did Target do that led them to expand profits while others didn't? Barnes & Noble survived, Borders didn't. Why? Just think about that going forward. And again, think of any applications to the national security space you might see. So again, I look forward to seeing some of you on Tuesday, and I will send out the Zoom link here. And if there's questions or issues, let me know.